friends and enemies, lovers and haters. It is your boy, and we are back on the microphone. It has been a minute since I have dropped a solo podcast. I almost think it's been a little over almost 2 years, 3 years. Life has been a whirlwind. I have, I'm gonna just be real with you because it's just me and you on the microphone today. What has happened since my last podcast drop? My last real solo drop was George Floyd, I believe, during the height of COVID. So it's been a while. So what's happened? I've gotten divorced. I have gone through a career change. I have traveled to the continent of Africa twice. I have basically got back into rock climbing. I'd love to say I continued and I've been thriving and driving, but you go through these phases and sometimes, well, maybe a better word to say it is seasons. And I think the thing with a season is because we interchangeably use this word with the seasons of the year, we think that they have this defined ending. And I think seasons, their ending is really determined on us and the work that we are doing, for us to acknowledge where we are in the midst of what we are trying to become and what we are trying to achieve. And that is what allows these seasons to have their beginnings and their ends. And I truly believe that I'm in the beginning of a new season. So I am no longer coaching. I have decided it was the best option for me to retire from coaching with the changes in the climbing industry that have happened. And I want to be very clear. I might sound a little negative with this, but I think what's happening in the indoor climbing industry from a customer standpoint and user standpoint, I think a lot of good things are happening. Like climbing facilities are getting better. Climbing gyms are becoming more accessible due to location and geography, not really based on price. That is definitely going up. But I think I am concerned about the soul, the heart of the indoor climbing industry and who is driving that bus. Because I think that person driving the bus, or those people driving the bus, are really welcoming, really want everybody to get on the bus. But they want everybody to get on the bus so everybody buys a ticket. Not so much because they want to drive everybody into the future where our gyms and where our community needs to go. And that's the general concern that I have. And I just, I think it's time for me to move on and start making impacts and waves in different areas. And that is coming in the form of becoming a full-time filmmaker. I have been working on a couple projects. Some of you know that Climb Malawi, the documentary that Genevieve Walker, Scott, and myself made in Malawi over a year ago, has been touring around the country. Many of you have had a chance to see it. And for those of you that have helped us have a screening in your community, in your area, thank you so much. It goes such a long way. And yeah, I just can't thank you enough. Big shout out to Organic for funding that whole film and funding me to make sure that this could be a thing. And now I'm really excited to say that we're working on the second Climb Malawi film. It's in the middle of post-production right now. We just got off a phone call. This year we're doing it a little different. Last year we produced, shot, directed, edited, did everything here in the States. This year, we're really taking a book on mentorship, and I wish I remembered the film, and I'll find it for you later, but there's this really cool film and this really cool story where these people gave a bunch of Native American women cameras, and they let them film, and then they taught them how to edit, and they kind of took the story. And a buddy of mine really showed me this film, and I cannot remember who actually showed me this, and if you're listening to this, you know who you are. But I was really inspired by this, and I want to be very clear. The Malawian community already makes great movies. They've got a thriving community. They've got a thriving movie industry. It is on par for where that country is. Now, some of you might be saying, Mario, you've only made one film. Isn't that a little ambitious? For those of you who do not know, I am a movie connoisseur. I love, love, love movies. One of the early things I used to have for climbing friends, just so we didn't always talk about rock climbing and we made it seem that we at least pretended like we had the ability to talk about other things. We used to host this movie night at my house, and we would watch movies, and then we'd have an intermission, and then we kind of talk about the movie in different ways, and then we would finish the rest of the movie, and it was a great time. And it's something that I've always loved. One of my favorite production houses focus feature films. I've always followed them. Well, getting back to the point of what we're doing here in Malawi, the point was to help them create a film and be a part of their journey, and so they can continue to tell their own stories and continue to promote what is going on in Malawi, Africa. I am really excited to bring this film to you. We've been working on it a lot, and the amount of pre-production and the amount of post-production that is going into this thing is a lot. And so I'm really excited to bring this to you. Our hope is that it will be ready by May for the general public consumption. Right now, we'll be doing small focus groups. And if you're interested in being in one of our small focus group screenings, we will be doing that. All my Patreon listeners and all my Patreon members, you guys are already going to be included in the small focus group. So you'll be able to see that film and the other two films that I'm working on, which I'm really excited that I got hired by RAB to produce a film in Mexico. I'm working with some amazing athletes, RAB athletes, and this film is going to be an absolute monster and a heartstring, and I'm really, really, really excited. I can say I'm taking a different approach. I think there are three really kinds of climbing films made. Someone goes somewhere and climbs something hard. Someone goes somewhere really far away and climbs something hard. And someone goes somewhere really far away, climbs something hard, comes back 3 years later and sends it. And, that's all fine and dandy, but I'm tired of watching Mello. Not saying that I don't watch it. Mello, if you're listening to this, I do enjoy you, but I want to expand. I want movies that your parents, my parents, all of our friends and family, and people who don't know about climbing, or people who are one step removed from climbing, like they know a friend and they're thinking about going in, or people who are thinking about becoming adventurous. I want them to be able to connect with these stories and these people. And then I just want to do climbing justice in the film. People are like, okay, yeah, the climbing was really badass. It was great. It was cool. I want to do climbing justice, but what I really want to do is tell a story that is so universally human across the board. And I think that is really what matters to me more than anything else. And so we're working on a film with Rab. I can't really get too much into the details, but stay tuned to my stories. And after the new year, you will see me posting a lot about where I'm at, what I'm doing. Another film that I am working on is with Steep South. This one I can definitely talk about. I am helping them tell a story about the community in the Red River Gorge and how the relationship between climbers and the locals that live there. And we're talking about how to navigate that relationship and who are some of the characters that have grown up in both sides of the tracks and how they are navigating this and how they want to see their communities come together. I'm really, really excited about this film. If you're going to be in the Red sometime in early November, hit me up. Just message me, either message me on my website, socials. I mean, if you listen to this, you know how to get in touch with me. I'm not that hard to find. But let me know. I'd love to meet up and climb with you guys. I'll have a couple days of rock climbing, and then the Climb Malawi screening is happening November 10th at Alexandria, Virginia, at the Patagonia store. We are doing a big blowout. Genevieve Walker and myself are going to be teaching clinics in conjunction with Sport Rock's guiding service. We're also going to be partnering with Soul Track, with one of the local NGOs in the areas that gets people outside, and also with the Patagonia store and with a few other brands that are going to be there. So I'm really, really, really stoked for this. And it's nice to just honestly be out of the gym and just travel and be amongst the climbing community and people. Oh, I'm also going to Blackout Fest. If you're not going to Blackout Fest and you're going to go to Blackout Fest, I hope to see you there because we're also screening the film there. So we're on a roll, and I am honestly so blessed, and I feel so loved, and I feel so supported with all the responses of the film. You know, this is my very first documentary, and you guys have just been giving me rave reviews. And then those of you who know me and who I look up to as mentors in this production industry, you guys are giving me the most heartfelt, straightforward, straight from the hip, constructive criticism and feedback, which I thrive on. And so, honestly, I'm blessed. I can't really complain about anything else at all. I mean, it's been a wild ride, you know. Never in my life, if you would have asked me when I was growing up, and if you listen to this podcast enough, you've heard me say this before. Growing up, I honestly thought the most that I would ever amount to is like, you know, being a store manager of, and let me be very clear, these people make freaking bank. They make bank. But I remember a high school teacher told me, like, you know, the most you can probably ever amount to is to be a general manager of a Walmart, you know. And I really thought, like, you know, if that's what my teachers or people are saying to me, that's it. Maybe that's all I can ever achieve. But I always felt like I could do something greater. I could do something that had a wider reaching impact. Or I could at least, you know, maybe not even the whole thing with a wider impact. Maybe it's just like, no, not a maybe. It is. I always felt like, you know, I'm arrogant enough, I'm bullheaded enough, and I'm not going to let anybody tell me no from chasing my dreams. I can remember some of my elders telling me, like, be careful of the white man that you outshine, because he might put out your shine, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. So, you know, these are the realities that I lived in. And to be where I am now, to know that I've coached some of the best athletes in climbing that I've ever seen in my life, and I have the privilege to climb with some of them now as they are adults. And now I have the opportunity to follow the stories and create the stories of people. No, create is the wrong word. I apologize. I have the privilege and the honor to show the stories of people's lives that they're already living. I would have never thought in a million years. And honestly, I'm so, so, so grateful. Yeah. And so my goal is to start getting on this mic once a week. I'm going to start chatting with you guys. I do want to put a big apology out. There are a lot of podcast episodes that I have in the docket that I have not released. And a couple months ago, in the midst of all of this going on, I had a massive hard drive failure. But I'm hoping to pull them all back up. But if I have a podcast with you, I want you to please don't think that I didn't like it, or it wasn't any good, or I never posted it because it wasn't spectacular or you weren't good enough. It's because of me, one, not getting my shit together and getting these things out quick enough, two, hard drive problems, and then three, it really is I just had a lot of life changes. And I don't know about you guys, but like it's pretty easy to keep trugging through when you're dealing with things that only affect the body. But when you start to go through things that affect the heart and the mind, or maybe better put, the soul and the mind, it is very, very, very hard to be creative and put stuff out into the world. So if I have not posted your episode, I want you to know that it is not that I didn't enjoy it. I don't love you. I think you're amazing, and I want to share your story. It might be because I accidentally lost it due to the great failure of Mario's hard drive of 2024. I do want to give a big shout out to Everybody Climbs. It's really weird to say this, but like, I've enjoyed listening to my own podcast more, knowing that I'm not on my own podcast. And you know, it's really been this kind of peaceful thing, and it's really kind of made me fall back in love with this art form and this craft. I know my podcast is not where I talk about fingerboards and climbing and how to get stronger and how to do this. And be blatantly honest with you, there are a lot of other people who do that really, really, really well. And I'm going to let them just run in that arena. What I want to talk about is the people that are in this community that we love. What I want to talk about is the people that you pass by, or that one person at the crag that it seems like everybody knows, but whether they're a crusher or not. What about them has made them the crag fairy, or what about them has made them the person that just people depend on, or why have they become the person who just knows every single thing about this area? And some people are not that. Some people are just these silent giants that just climb and do their own things. At the end of the day, I think those stories matter more because I think those are more the people. Don't get me wrong. The Alex Honnold's, Tommy Caldwell's, Sasha's, Megan's, and all these, pros in the world are the ones paving the future of climbing and where we're going to go in climbing. But the people who are making the climbing communities and laying roots and putting down foundations, those are the people that we see in the gym. Those are the people that you never quite remember that person's name, but you always remember their freaking smile, or you remember their hyena hackle of a laugh. Those are the people that always somehow just bring random little baked goods to the gym, and they're always having these little things that they just give out. These are the people who, when you go on a camping trip, they're the ones who are up a little early making coffee, or they're the ones at the end of the night passing around, hot toddies. These are the people that I think that make maybe not the whole climbing community go round, but they at least make our little corner of our world, of our communities, go round. And I want to know more about them. I want to know, why did they decide to be so kind and so compassionate? I want to know more, why did they decide that they want to just be this person? And maybe they've always been this way, and maybe it's not even that exciting, or maybe it's not even that interesting of why they've been that way, but to me it is, because I think kindness is something that we all have the ability to be, but kindness is not something that we all strive to be at every given moment. And the people who can do that and exude that, I'm so impressed, because I'm a butthead sometimes. If you really know me, I'm definitely a big butthead sometimes, and I will openly admit it. And anyone who really knows me, there's probably a couple other adjectives you could use to describe me, but sometimes there are children in the car when people are listening to this, so I'm going to be cleaning up my language. I think those are stories of what matter. And so I want to know about our local heroes, our local celebrities, and I think that's what matters the most. I want to say thank you guys for continuing listening and supporting my podcast. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. And remember, if you're not suffering, you got to ask yourself, are you even sending at all?
Audio.